Don't use the bleach, family. You know, this is Fela Kuti. This is Anthony Olatunji upon a Wednesday evening. I beg or no, don't use the bleach. You know, when I was in Africa last week, I saw victims of the bleach hood. I saw victims of the yellow fever. In your community today, African family, in your own family, people, you will see victims of the yellow fever. You will see victims of this madness. You will see victims of this lightning, whitening creams. It is a sickness, family. It's something which is in and amongst us. We have to recognize it and deal with the symptoms. We have to recognize it and deal with the effects. We have to recognize it and deal with it. But it's not just an African thing. It's indeed a human thing. People put more value nowadays, apparently, on superficial factors like how you look or how your hair is or how your lips are or how your lipstick or eyeliner or how your boutash looks, rather than how you are as a whole human being, as a spiritual being. People put more value on how they appear to be rather than how they actually are. And that's a madness amongst us. But bless. When I was in Africa, some people say, look, Mr. Anthony Olatunji, you just come back with stories of misery and strife, and can't you tell me something great and good? And, you know, I'll tell you what's great and good. The love of our people, the humanity of our people, the art and the heart and the culture and the reality of our people. That's what's great and good. But the condition we're in, hey, it's misery. It's miserable. It's terrible. So I'm going to tell you like how it is. In my opinion, bless. You know, some surprising things I'll share with you. Now, for me, my images and my imagination is fed from a Western fueled representation of Africa. And Kenya, for example, or Tanzania, or even Zanzibar, or was that? It's like we get these images that Africa's pretty backward. But where we live in Nottingham right now, yo, places over there better than Nottingham Star. The roads are in better condition. The services are in better conditions in parts of Africa than what they are in the so-called first world, and what they are in the so-called developed world. Call it the first world. You know that's a joke. You know that's an oxymoron, because the first world is what they call the third world. It's just that we've been relegated to the third tier of humanity. We've been relegated to the third tier of civil rights, and that's the reality. We're third in line behind the European and the other swine. So understand what I say, family. Things are developing in Africa. But the direction that development takes is of critical importance, is of critical significance. The direction that advancement takes, the direction that development takes, is it going to take the route of being tourist? Or is it going to take the route of being more nationalist? Who's going to own and control the resources of Africa? My line is this. If you're born and raised in an African state which has oil, then you should benefit from being born and raised in a state that has oil. If you're born and raised in a state that has plutonium, uranium, diamonds, copper, bauxite, emeralds, sapphires, any valuable natural earth resource, then you should benefit as a result of being born and raised and having your blood, sweat and tears and family and history and culture situated in this state. And I have a problem with the modern nation state in Africa, because we all have problems with the modern nation state in Africa. We have an alien tool, we have an alien system that's running and ruling, and to some degree or another ruining our day-to-day interaction with one another. We're using a European system of nation states within Africa. We're using a European system, by and large, of education within Africa. We're using a European system of a European legal system, a European system of legalese. We're using a European legal system in Africa, by and large. We're using a European economic system in Africa, by and large. We're using a European financial system within Africa. We're using a European cultural system within Africa. We're using a European banking system, a European government system within Africa. Every system that we have within Africa is devised by Greco-Latin European cultures. Now we can claim credence, we can lend credence to the fact that, well, we're the mothers and fathers of civilization, therefore the modern nation state is de facto a creation of us directly or indirectly. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to do that, then we're going to become a cropper, and we are becoming a cropper. We need to do away with it. We need to redefine. We need to reevaluate. We need to reinvestigate, reinvigorate African-centered cultures, African-centered systems of education, finance, law, politics, economics, religion, etc. within the motherland, the fatherland. Understand this, African family. You come from the richest continent in the face of the whole earth. Richest in terms of valuable natural economic earth resources. Understand this, family, that you are the richest resource on earth. You as an individual, you as an African, you as a Caribbean. Look, forget saying that we are all created equal, because I know in a 100-yard race, 20 times out of 25, Africans are winning the race. In a long distance race, 25 times out of 20, Africans are winning the race. In a fisticuff, in a boxing match, Africans are stronger, faster, brighter, clearer, cleverer. But it just seems that we're more gullible. It just seems that we're more innocent. And it's our innocence and it's our prevalence of humanity which is our weakness also, it seems. Look, we are all gifted with life at this particular moment in time. And don't take this life for granted. Understand that nobody is promised tomorrow. I told you from the get-go of this show that the Europeans' time is running short. The time of Africa's deliverance is at hand. You have the internet, you have access to all the information, to all the so-called knowledge that there has been up until this point in history at your very fingertips. Utilize it. If you don't, and if you won't, then our future is going to be gifted to the European. And believe you me, you go to Africa, you see the Europeans there with their knapsacks, with their backsacks, with their rucksacks, taking as much out of Africa as they possibly can. Stripping, ripping, raping, scraping as much natural earth resources out of Africa as possible. That's what they're doing, family. Should you be doing the same thing? Should you be doing the same thing? No, I would say no. I would say that what you should be doing is living up to your true nature. And what is the true nature of an African? What is the true nature of a human being? Now, I can't answer every question in the universe. I can only give my interpretation on some essential questions, fundamental questions. And my interpretation of that fundamental question is that as a human being, as an African, as a living being, what you're supposed to be doing is giving. For me, I say living is giving. Giving is living. It's a simple equation. There's nothing complex about that. There's nothing difficult about that. There's nothing overly esoteric about that. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing... I'm not trying to bamboozle you with BS. I'm not trying to baffle you with BS. And yes, I do have a BSc degree. But I heard Brother Malcolm and brothers from the nation say that the BSc degree is only worth the BS. And when you get an MS, It's more of the same. And when you get a PhD, then you're just piled high and deep in the same something, 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 something. But these are just words, and I don't want to play. I just want to help to entertain and educate and edutain. To take some of the strain out of the severity, out of the seriousness of the task which we're looking at. So, what is life? Life is to give. Giving is living. And if anybody tells you anything different, then I say sack that individual. If you listen to any other radio show and they're not telling you what I'm telling you, then I tell you sack that radio show. Because they ain't telling you reality. This is my perception of reality. Living is giving. Giving is living. From the time you're on a take. From the time you heard the saying, oh, he's on the take. Oh, she's on the take. That's not a good thing. It's a negative connotation. Because they're on the take. They're getting money to be sly. They're getting money to be snide. But if you see somebody in the street, I said it to you a few weeks ago. If you're in a food shop, if you're in a Kentucky McFried, or whatever you want to call it. If you're in a McDonald's or you're in a Kentucky Fried, Southern Fried, Deep Fried, wherever, and you're in a food parlor, a fast food, a junk food, a poison food parlor. If you're in one of these places and you see somebody who's younger than you in the queue behind you, ask that brother or that sister, say, hey brother, hey sister, what is it that you're having? Let me pay for you. Let me buy this for you as a gift. But don't make a ceremony and a song and dance about it. Just do it. Say, yo, I'll pay for that, brother. What is it, £5? Done. Give. If you give, you live. Simple as that, blessed. But you don't get a hang of that. It's something which is strange. It's something that's never been taught to you. It's something you've never really even been told before. You've not even thought about that before. I can tell because I can feel your vibes. I can feel you, blood. We're jungle brothers up in this. So, therefore, if what I'm saying to you resonates with you, I beg you follow fashion, yeah? Because we have to, this is a thing about being me. This is a thing about being you. This is a thing about being in our unique African community. We make fashion. We don't follow fashion. If you're a fool, then you follow fool and you follow fashion. But if you're who you are, then you make fashion. And I'm saying make fashion this. Make it fashionable to give. Make it fashionable for you to go to a shop or to a bar or to a pub or to a club or to a fast food, junky food place and pay for somebody else's food from your community. Make it fashionable for you to go to a black business, to a black shop and just buy something. Because I bet you're like me. Half the stuff in your house you don't even need. Half the stuff in your room you don't even want. Half the stuff you got in your space, you be like, oh, where did this come from? Why have I got that? What the fluff is this? Why have I got so much junk? So don't tell me you can't afford to go to an African shop, a black man shop and buy something that you don't need. I'm telling you, go there one day a week, at least one day a week. Go to the African Caribbean store and buy something even that you don't need. That your partner, that your neighbor, that your mother, that your brother, that your lover, that your father, that somebody else might need. And give. Because from the time you give, that's when you live. I'm telling you, living is given. If you haven't heard that before, now you heard it. Now you can't tell me you haven't heard it. All right. So then moving forward, I think that we as an African continent, we as an African culture, we as an African people have given too much. So in some regards, it's time to take. Take back, to repair, to repatriate, reparations. I'm not talking about financial restitutions. Take back your heart. Take back your art. Take back your borders. Take back your language. Take back your culture. Take back your knowledge. These you can do without too much difficulty. And if you don't have the knowledge of yourself and your history, then hey, grab a Google. Even Google will tell you, look, Africa was the first people on the face of the whole earth. Africans have been around for 30, 40, 50,000 years in civilization. The pyramids, the Sphinx have been around weathering for 30,000, 20,000, 15,000 years. And if you listen to the pedagogy of the Nation of Islam, they will tell you that Europeans have only been around for 6,000 years. So if you've been around for 25, 35, 40,000, 50,000 years, maybe 250,000 years, And these Europeans who are now running the world, and by any stretch of the imagination, they're ruining the world and running the world and ruling the world. If you've been around for so long and they've only been around for so long, then they're just like Johnny come latelys. So when they take, when they're filling up their backsacks and their rucksacks and their knapsacks with all the swag in their bag, with all the loot that they can root, when they're stealing everything they can steal, when they're taking everything they can take, you shouldn't be surprised by that, because they don't know that Africa has enough resources to last another 5,000 years. It has more. But the problem is, humanity is not developing. Humanity is not evolving. So therefore, there's a disequilibrium in balance, in play, in the state of today. And this is what we need to address. Now, I want to talk about one brother which I knew as a child to be a hero to some, to be a villain to others. And when I told you that nobody is promised tomorrow, check it. I've got my personal families in critical conditions. I know everybody in your life. Look, we're all born, we all live, we all suffer, we all die. I know there are people in your family, in your community, that you feel a loss when they go into hospital, when they pass away. But look, we live. If we give, then we'll make the earth a better place when we've passed. But if all you're going to do is take, and rape when you're here, then the earth is not going to be better when you've passed. So live and give and live. We are born, let's give more, let's give a little, and then we can pass and the earth is a better place. That's all I can say. Nobody's promised tomorrow. So when your people pass away, give a little light, give a little wisdom, give a little love, give a little resources to your own people. Because right now, we're giving to everybody and anybody else apart from ourselves. There's one brother who to many is a villain and who to others is a hero. And it's the brother president, Robert Mugabe. And here's a letter that he wrote to black Zimbabwe citizens. I quote, "You will appreciate me more when I am gone, my fellow Zimbabweans. I am writing this letter and hope that all of you will read it and share it. My days on earth are numbered. But I know that once I am gone, you and your children will never forget about me. I want you to understand that the reason I have stayed long in power, 36 years on, is because I want to empower you, all of you, my fellow black Zimbabweans. No other president in the entire continent of Africa has done what I have done for you, but you continue to take me for granted. Do you know that the whole of Africa, Zimbabweans, are the only blacks who own their own land? I'll repeat that. Do you know that in the whole of Africa, Zimbabweans are the only blacks who own their own land? We are the only blacks who own and run our means of production. We own our own companies. We own our own land. That's the true meaning of independence. Political and economic independence. That is the true meaning of independence. Political and economic independence. I have fought tooth and nail my entire political life to ensure that all of you have both political and economic independence. I don't hate white people. No, not at all. What I hate is their thinking that they are better than us. That they can just come to our country and take our resources and our land and tell us what to do. To that I say no. Today, I am happy that almost all of the land in Zimbabwe is in black hands. It is up to you to use the education I've given you and develop the land so it is productive, so you can feed yourself, so you can free yourself and you can feed yourself. One thing I am proud of is that I have worked hard to ensure our natural resources and our land was given back to its rightful owners. You, the black Zimbabwean peoples of Africa. Go to other countries in Africa. Right here, just across Limpopo in South Africa, Mandela sold out and gave all of the land and economy to the whites. The blacks in South Africa will be slaves to white South Africans forever. As long as the land is not in the hands of its rightful owners, the Africans, the black man will continue to suffer in his own land. as long as the land is not in the hands of its rightful owners. The Africans, the black man, will continue to suffer in his own land. The real wealth is now in your hands. I wrestled it away from white people who came to steal it from you. Yes, the world was angry at me and punished the whole country with sanctions. But I don't care, because I know what I was doing was the right thing. I was empowering you, my people. You take care of the land and the industries I have given you. I did my part. The ball is now in your court. Do your part. You will remember me and you will appreciate me for what I have done for you when I am gone. Your president and leader of Africa for Africans, Robert Gabriel Mugabe. Some people, African family, may appreciate what I've just said to be de facto truth. Some may say that's nothing but black Pan-Africanist propaganda. Some may say, look, you've got it all twisted, Mr. Anthony Olatunji. Robert Mugabe was nothing but a self-embezzling, a self-empowering, self-serving demon. Like every politician, like every member of government, just there to feed themselves, to steal everything for themselves. And I believe personally that everybody who's in government is a thief and a liar. That's what I believe personally. So if you're listening to this and you're in local government, you're in national government, European government, you're in African government, then to me, as far as I'm concerned, until you prove to be otherwise, you're a thief and a liar. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not going to start from the premise that I'm bowing down to a thief and a politician and a liar. Because you are bend rules and bend laws to suit your own service, to suit your own self, to line your own pockets. And I've done told you people, I've done told you African family, in my view, living is giving. And by and large, politicians, they're just on the take. They're just on the make. They're there to take what they can from the system. They're there to fool you, to cajole you, to school you, to mislead you, to feed you with BS. And yes, they will take whatever you give them. You give them props, they take the props. You give them money, they take the money. You give them respect, they'll take the respect. You give them resources, they'll take the resources. You give them credence, they'll accept some of that. You give them jobs, they'll play the job, they'll take the job, they'll take the opportunity. You give them opportunities, they'll take the opportunities. They'll take everything and anything you give them. But I say to the politicians, your time is nigh. It's time for we to give you hell. Because I've had enough. We need to give these politicians and these political demons hell. Because they've taken too much already. And the reality is, just like back in the day in slavery, it was the political monsters, the political maniacs in action that enforced the industry of slavery. And the people, the sheeple, the dumb, deaf and blind 85%, 95% of the people who don't know nothing, can't see nothing, can't feel nothing, can't hear nothing, don't know the reality of what's going on a macro, on a world scale. Just like today. In politics today, there's no excuses today because you have all the information, you have all the knowledge in the palm of your hand. So what's your excuse for sitting down and watching Bombaras Strictly Come Dancing? What's your excuse for that? There's no excuse for that. I'll give you a noose for that. And that's how hardcore my stuff is. I'm going to give you no excuse. I'll give you a noose. And you know what you do with a noose? We'll put it tight on a devil's neck. I get upset because I just come from places. I just seen faces, pure, true African living, loving faces who are being raped and pillaged on a daily. Now don't take my more radical outbursts as being typical of what I have to say. Don't take my vitriol as being the sum total of what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is quite palatable. What I'm saying is quite reasonable. If I say to you in a sudden outburst, in a sudden oratorical outburst, in a sudden creative licensed outburst, "Bon a devil, put a noose on a goose neck," then don't take that out of the context of what it's given. But here, family, let's get back to the point of the matter at hand. Robert Gabriel Mugabe, the Saviour, the saint, the archangel of Africa. Archangel Gabriel Mugabe of Africa. Many people will say that this brother's nothing but a devil. And I've heard this from the Western media, because that's what they're feeding you. Alongside your EastEnders, alongside your gender benders, alongside your Crossroads, alongside your flip modes, alongside your MTV, alongside your empty television. Bless, I'll say what I'm going to say. Hear what I'm going to say now, bless. We'll get back to the Archangel Gabriel Mugabe soon. And I know you're feeling that term. You've not heard that term before? Feel it. I beg you. Take it. It's a tantalizing term. Archangel Gabriel Mugabe. I love it. I christened Robert Mugabe. Archangel Gabriel Mugabe. Yeah? Like that. Own it. Do with it what you will. I want to say this. I was in Kenya sitting down with a sister. And this is one of the most beautiful, intelligent sisters I've come across in years. She was not by the Western standard definition of the term beautiful. But her person, her soul was beautiful. As a person, intelligent. As a person, bright and lively, independent. How a woman is supposed to be. Not submissive and subservient and bowing down to some male patriarchal BS. I'm asking her views on things. And she's telling me she's the daughter of a preacher, whose father was a preacher, whose mother was a preacher. So I'm like, yo, sis, so that means you must be a good Christian, right? No, I don't believe in religion, she says. I'm like, whoa, well, why would you say that? That's like a complete disconnect to me. How are you going to be the son? How are you going to be the daughter? How are you going to be the child of both parents, which are preachers? And then you turn out and say, look, I'm anti-religion. It just seems like a complete disconnect. It's like, whoa, what's wrong? What happened? And rather than victimize or personify her disgust with religion against her parents, because she's got respect for her parents, she just said, look, the church is supposed to be thus. And I will outline for you right now the exegesis of what she told me. And what she told me was this. Look, Mr. Olatunji, religion, Christianity, we give our tithes, we give our 10% to the church as a duty. We give our 10% to the church week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. We give in the times of plenty. We give in the times of drought. We give when we have enough, and we give when we have nought. But, Olatunji, what's happening nowadays is that the church, rather than looking after the people, which are desperate, which are needy, which need food, clothing and shelter. The church, rather than looking after those, well, this is the remit of the church. The remit of the church is that it shall look after the homeless. It shall look after the starving. It shall look after the uneducated and the orphans. That's what the church is supposed to do. And as a result of the church fulfilling these responsibilities, we give our tithes. We give our 10%. We give our donations. We give willingly. We give obligingly. But what the church is doing nowadays in a modern context, Mr. Olatunji, this is what she's telling me. What the church is doing is taking this money, and the preacher and the preacher's going in like a prime minister, going in like a pop star. Am I drive on a stush car? Am I sit on a big car? Like say what? Excuse me. The preacher is driving around in a fantastic vehicle, purchased of the proceeds of people's donations. The preacher is living in an accommodation way and above the status and the state of his people. Now this should be blasphemy, but this is reality. This should be madness. But this is what we're faced with. And when she told me this, it just dawned on me that, you know what, this sister's kicking the real. And you know, when reality gets you, when reality confronts you, you've got to do nothing but submit to reality. You can say no, but this, but that, but the other. But reality is as it is. It's as it appears. It is as it feels. It is as it's real. And I knew what the sister was saying was real. And I had to take my hat off. I said, sister, look, I bow down to you. I prostrate myself to you. As a man is supposed to do. At the foot of a woman. At the feet of a woman. A man is supposed to prostrate himself to her. As his superior. Yet you mans don't know about it. You mans ain't living that. This is culture. This is our culture. But people don't know about it. Culture is that which comes from within. It's not that which is being fed from outside. I'm telling you this because I know this. I'm telling you that to live is to give because I know this. The more you take is the more you kill yourself. The more that you give is the more that you live yourself. Now, on It's Not Me, It's You Honest, my YouTube channel, if you go back to September, October last year, you'll see that man's did some charity works in India, made some videos about it, showed man's gone to orphanages, etc., etc. Man's did that. So yeah, man's give a look or something and share a look or something. But when I went to Africa this time, I didn't make no song and dance about it. But I'll share with you, African family, because I know you don't know. And let me tell you this. Just go and look in your kitchen floor, look in your bathroom floor. Look on and then compare that floor to the outside floor in the garden or in the street. I'll tell you this reality. With my own eyes, I see this. Our people, 80%, 90%, the majority of our people in Africa today are living on floors which are no better than the floors outside of your front door. The floors inside your kitchen and inside your bathroom in the UK, in the European sphere, must be considered to be prestige, must be considered to be high-class floors in comparison to the floors that my people are sleeping on in Africa today. Many of our people. In the tribal villages, behind the veneer and behind the facade of modernity. Many of our people are living in squalor. Many of our people are living without sanitation, without running water, without electricity. But the vast majority, the over almost 100%, 95, 99% of the Europeans are over there. They make sure they've got their electricity. They make sure they've got their water. They make sure they've got their sanitation locked. But they don't give a fluff about anybody else. It's like in India, I saw 5-star hotels. And outside the 5-star hotels, there was 2-3 kilometers full of slums. Outside 5-star hotels. And it's a big disconnect. It's a big dichotomy. It's a big, what the hell is this? Can't these people see how mad this is? Like the Europeans in Africa. What the hell is this? Can't these devils see how mad this is? How contradictory this is? How unequal, how unjust, how just corrupt this is? My African family, your African family, our human family is still suffering today. There's one brother I met. Brother called Malemu. And in many respects, he is a Malemu. Malemu means teacher. He said, look, brother, the Mozongo, which is the zombie, which is the KJ, which is a European, is living large over here. And I'm telling you the truth as I tell you this. This brother's wrist was no thicker than my two first forefinger and middle finger. His wrist is no thicker than my 2 fingers. Through the deficit of nutrients throughout his entire life. So, this brother didn't have a clothes to change. I went there with a few spare clothes. This is not a song and dance family. This is a reality family. This is a reality and a clarity check. So it's like a watch your back, protect your neck. So I give the brother, I had 5 t-shirts. I give the brother 4 of my t-shirts and I keep 1 t-shirt to bring back to the UK so I could wear. Everything else I give to the brother. I give the brother whatever pairs of shorts I had. I give the brother my bed linen. I buy some more bed linen and I give to the brother. I'll get some pillows and give to the brother. I get my towels and I give them to the brother. I get all the food from my cupboard, all the spices, everything from my cupboard, I give to the brother. I take all my spare money and I give it to the brother. I go to the shop, I buy a 25 kilo bag of rice and I give to the brother. I send some money to make sure the brother's got. And I said, next month when the brother's food has run out, when the rice has run out, let me know. I'll buy another 25 kilo bag of rice for the brother, so he can help to feed his family. He's a brother. Now, this is what he said to me, make me feel shame. He said, look, brother, I'm 35 years of age. I would like to have a woman, but because I'm a man of very little means, I can't have a woman. I nearly cry when the brother told me this. I nearly die when the brother told me this. I feel shame when the brother told me this. And I feel blame when the brother showed me this. But why would I feel guilty? I feel guilty because I'm born in this land of the sinking sand, and we have. And yet I was there in position in the place of the richest resource place in the face of the earth, and our people in Africa today are being robbed of their livelihood, being robbed of their birthright by the wicked parasite, by the Mzungu parasite. And that's the reality, people. That's the reality, family. So you can say, oh, there you go again, Mr. Anthony Olatunji, preaching and teaching that misery. But yo, that's not a story of misery. That's a story of joy. That's a story of glad tidings. Because it's glad tidings that brother could say to me what he said to me. And I could share with brother and give to the brother and care for brother and live with the brother. Me and the brother have a bind. Me and the brother have a connect. And this will never be severed. Give thanks, family. Okay. I hope that resolves whatever technical difficulties that there have been. I just got a text from a listener, which I'm thankful for. And it says that blah, 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 there is another program running. So I think that's inadvertently the switch got pushed up. So listeners, I beg you, forgive me for the technical hitch. And now we're back on track. Now we're back live again. So let me just go and check these technical issues before I get back to you. I'm going to fling another track. And this track, we can hit another Godfather track, or we can hit Curtis Mayfield. I like the sound of Curtis Mayfield, family. This track here, Curtis Mayfield. I'm in Pusher, man. This is me, African Anthony Olatunji, up on a Wednesday evening. And yes, I am your Pusher, man. Blessed family. Whoa.